Good evening, everybody. Once again, we're meeting again for the journey on Mondays at 8 p.m. Thank you for tuning in. For those who are tuning in on Periscope, hi, how are you, Marche? For those on Periscope and also those that are on Blab, I want you to know that I have two different monitors going on, okay? So that if I'm not directly speaking to you, don't take offense to it. It's not personal. It's not like I don't want to look at you or anything like that. I just want to make sure that all angles are covered with everyone. But I want to thank you and I appreciate you joining us on Mondays with the instructions that God has given me, provided that we are enjoying the journey and we're seeing how many lives are being transformed, how many people are applying everything that they're learning from the journey. Keep in mind that what the journey is a process for application. It's coming out of my book, which is highlights of the book. The book is Accepted, Secured, Significant. It can be found on Amazon. It can also be found on my website at KemleyWhiteside.com. And you can order the book and be able to follow what we're doing with the journey. What I want to touch on today for our topic is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to talk about evaluate yourself. That's our topic for today. And it's coming out of chapter 12, which actually speaks about being influential. That's part of the book on chapter 12. It speaks about being influential because it's actually allowing us to understand what can we do to influence others. So you can find on page 85 the actual information that I'm going to read to you now. And that's basically where evaluating yourself came out from. It came out of a different highlight, a specific highlight of the book. And it was specifically on page 85 that I was actually, trying to understand a lot of things that people were going through and people were experiencing different situations. I was experiencing various situations. So I was able to apply things on a day-to-day basis in my life, and I just started to write. Now, please make sure that you invite others, that you invite your followers, that people are following, that people are actually interacting. This is an interactive forum. This is for everyone to participate so that if you have questions, if you have comments, we can all participate together and help other people. We want to make sure that people are being heard and that people are also being able to understand that they're walking out with a solution. We don't just necessarily come every Monday to have me speak and tell you everything that I want to share with you. The bottom line is that everyone can participate. Everyone can share their issues, their problems, or even if they have solutions for something that we're talking about, it's really important that the other people can be able to learn from that. So I'm going to start reading the portion of the book on page 85 that I took out this highlight of evaluate yourself. We're breaking it down in two sections. The first section is going to talk about business and the other section is going to talk about personal. And the way I broke it down is really going to be very interested because as a whole, as individuals, we have both sides that we have to deal with. Some of us have to deal with business-oriented things, and then others have to deal with personal things within themselves. So on page 85 of the book, Accepted, Secured, Significant, it reads, if something is happening to you often, it is time to evaluate yourself. The world is filled with many different types of people. Most of us neglect this because we think that if we're children of God, we should not be touched by darkness. I learned that if you're harmed, you will see justice done to those who have hurt you. However, this would only happen if you are honorable. When you become a part of a lie or contribute to a misunderstanding, it is not of God's will. You are violating God's law. These small instances could be the very reason our purpose has been diverted. Engaging in certain conversations or actions is another way of saying that you are in agreement with that type of behavior. I learned a while ago that I had the authority to control who I wanted to listen to and who I wanted to ignore. Some people repeat unacceptable behavior and recruit others to join in or witness to it. equally, those individuals will have to give account and stand before God and hear witness to one another. This particular section talks about being an honorable person as well. In many cases, when we have friendships or people surrounding us, we hear a lot of stories that people come to us with certain situations they're going through or experiencing in life. And a lot of times we just listen to the conversation or we engage in the conversation. And more likely, when we do things like that, we're not also seeing the other side, that these people are actually also saying things that shouldn't be something that we should be exposed to. Conversational situations can turn into a very dramatic issue down the road, because now you're actually saying that you are in agreement with what this person is saying or doing, knowing in your heart that you should not have been a part of that. It's very, very hard in today's world not to engage in conversations or in certain situations with various people, because we're all, communicating through social media. We have so many angles and avenues that allow us to feel like we have to participate in it, even making comments, even liking a post, even saying some things. You'll be surprised that if you are actually tapping into that, that means you're in agreement with that. And that's just as saying that you are okay with that. Most of the time, we don't want to see it that way because we're feeling like, oh, we're just going to support the person. But be very careful when you're actually engaging in things online with social media, or even interacting with people that you know that are coming into contact with saying things that are truly not honorable to God. And I'm not saying that you're not going to come across a situation like that, because you're going to have issues where you're going to see certain conversations or hear certain things that you really don't like or want to be a part of. But keep in mind that if you're co-signing with that particular instance, that makes you also accountable for those situations that are happening with that individual, because you're actually saying it's okay. Unless you're giving this person something that's going to help them, then don't make a comment at all. It's probably easier that way. Sometimes we want to engage so much of our opinions. Our opinions can cause us a whole lot more harm than good. And it's not because you are looking at it in the angle of saying, I just want to say something. But if it's not profitable to the individual, if it's not profitable to you, be very, very careful what you're doing and saying, because people are watching. People watch everything you do, everything you say, how you react to things, even your reaction to things. People are watching. And even though we're not in this world with the intent of saying that, we care what people say, we should, to a certain extent, care about what people say, because people have a way of either breaking us or making us. So keep in mind how your character is becoming in the public forums or in any places that you go with conversations with coworkers and friends, that you are just accountable just as much as they are for the conversation. So if someone is sharing something with you, be mindful of what you're actually listening to. The other thing I wanted to break down is also when you contribute to certain misunderstandings with people that you're with, there's always a way to say, let us talk about this and see how we can resolve this. Everything that's a misunderstanding does not always turn into something bad. Sometimes we need to evaluate how we come off. We need to evaluate how we say it. We need to evaluate whether we are saying something that has been repeatedly done and the person just feels offended by it. So don't, thank you for joining. Don't think that you are just voicing something because you want to voice it. Look at it that if you're voicing it, what is that doing to the person? If you're voicing it, what is that person's reaction going to be? I have like a piece of hair right on my eye. Okay, so let's also look for the one of the things I want you to do. Do you have a list of things you need to work on to improve? Does anybody have a list of things that they pretty much have saying that they have to work on? Everybody should have something that they're working on. You should pretty much write it down. You're not going to remember it all the time. So I really suggest that you write down the things that you need improvement on, things that you want to work on. If you even want to do like 5 things that you can work on and put it in writing, try your very, very best to do that. Anything you're working on, anything you're improving yourself with requires a checklist. Just like if you were going to the supermarket, if you don't need eggs, you're not going to buy eggs because it's not on your checklist. Try to apply that into your daily routine of your life. What do you need improvement on? Is it because you don't wake up on time? Is it something that you're used to doing? It could be that you have a way of interacting with people abruptly and you want to work on your mouth. I mean, so much of that needs to be addressed. Make a list of things that you need to work on, improve on. Allow yourself some time to apply a timeline to that, whether you want to apply a timeline that is a month, 2 months, 3 months. Try to apply that, because it's very important that you start applying things that are going to help you. Because if you're going to point the finger at someone else and you are doing exactly what they're doing, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. So try applying those little things. Write down at least 5 things, or as many as you need to. And in every single one of the things that you need to improve on, make sure that you put some sort of a checklist or something that would allow you to say, okay, I am going to work on this. And that's going to help you at some point down the road. It has helped me tremendously because I have a whole lot of lists of stuff I had to improve. But the key to that is that I made it a point, and I made it my business to understand that it's going to take time and it's going to be a process. But if I don't work on that timeline, if I don't work on that process, I will never get better. And no one could do it for me. So to me, what works is that I write things down and I make sure that I just, do a checklist on it. If it's just something simple, but it's important. So let's start talking about the business oriented part of this, why we need to evaluate ourselves when it comes down to business situations. And everyone wants to be an entrepreneur, but why? I think entrepreneurship is definitely something we all aspire to be. We all want to be our own bosses. We all want to have our own everything. It's not a 9-to-5 deal. When you commit to saying you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're going to be someone who is going to officially be on a road to success, basically. You're committing to more than a 9-to-5, which means now that if you weren't good at your 9-to-5, hear me, if you were not good at your 9-to-5, if you did not give your all at a 9-to-5 job, if you did not understand how to be committed to that 9-to-5, there's no way your mind should be angled to entrepreneurship. Because at that very moment, you're saying that you're basically not committing to laws. You're not committing to things that are of God, basically saying, I don't care what people tell me. I want to do it my way. So if you cannot commit to being honorable in a 9-to-5 job and honorable into the things that you're supposed to do at your job now, do not consider yourself an entrepreneur. And I say this in love. Write the vision, make it plain, writing makes it measurable. It also helps with accountability. Exactly. Thank you so much, Alea. It's true. That's why I said improvement means you put something in writing, start checking it off, and start saying to yourself, these are things I have to work on. These are things I have to improve on. Check yourself. Check yourself. Don't have someone else check you. If it will help you to check yourself before someone decides to check you, because that person may be very harsh. That person may not be as kind as telling you how you are. So if you already know what you have to deal with and what you have to improve on, it's best to work on it now. It's best to work on it in your timing so that no one else can come behind you and say, well, you should have known that because you've been like that for like 15 years. And it happens. And then people get offended. They lose friendships and they decide they don't want to talk to anybody anymore. And it's not even necessary. You don't even have to wait till it gets to that point for you to start doing a checklist on yourself and evaluate yourself. So the entrepreneurship part in the business area is basically saying, if you're not good, at communication, if your communication is off, your communication is completely off, that means you really are not ready to go to the next level. Because if you can't communicate in your 9-to-5 with the people you have around you and the ones that get on your nerves and the people that really you don't really like, if you can't even tolerate that, you're still not ready to go to the next level, because you have to be prepared and equipped to understand that you're going to operate more than a 9-to-5. You're going to do more than a 9-to-5. You're going to dedicate more than a 9-to-5. So if you're not even doing that right now, then call it off. Don't even think about it, because it's really damaging other people that are coming in contact with you, and you're not seeing yourself. You're basically saying it's okay and it's not okay. The other part is being in timeliness. If your timeliness is off with deadlines and with various things that you have to accomplish in life, if you are off with timeliness, you need to stop thinking that you're an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur doesn't mean just because you want to do something your way and you want to be your own boss, all of a sudden your timeliness becomes whatever you want. You're automatically setting yourself up for a disaster, because your communication in your 9 to 5 is not going so well, and your timeliness in your 9 to 5 is not going so well. So what makes you think that doing entrepreneurship, being your own boss, being the person you think that you can rule the world, is going to really help you? It's honestly not. But we're being geared towards that thing called success, and we think that everybody has to be so successful, but we're still not evaluating ourselves. We're still not working on ourselves. We're still going after things without seeing that some of these things are damaging our characters, our integrities, is damaging our communication level with other people. So you have to start evaluating you before you go to that next level. The other part is the partnership. If your partnership is off with the people that you surround yourself with, your friends, your colleagues, then you're still not ready for entrepreneurship. Because when you get to that level, you're not going to tolerate a lot of, you're going to have so much stuff you're going to deal with and tolerate. You're going to have to learn how to tolerate things that you will want to run away from, because it's so much work. It's like double the work. Your 9 to 5 is nothing compared to being in a place where you have to physically devote that time, physically devote all of that, and say, I can do it. If you don't know how to communicate now, forget it. If you don't know how to work on your timeliness, forget it. And if you certainly don't know how to deal with partnerships and teamwork, forget it. So every single person that says, I want to be an entrepreneur, the first thing you must do is evaluate you. Figure out on your checklist, what are the things you have to work on? If it's your mouth, are you too mouthy? Are you somebody who always think that needs to have an opinion? And why do you have an opinion without an answer? Why do you have an opinion without a solution? Why do you have an opinion without bringing to the table something that's going to work, fix the problem? Every opinion is not intended to just voice out what you think is going to be okay to say. Most opinions are necessary for you to keep to yourself so that you can work on it and find a solution to it instead of giving it. So be mindful that when you get to that next level of success, that next level of entrepreneurship, you're going to have people that are going to team up with you. And if you can't learn how to understand the process now at your 9 to 5, then you're certainly not going to be positioned. You're not going to be ready to take it to the next level. So stop listening to people that are constantly telling you that you should be an entrepreneur. You need to be such a great entrepreneur. You need to go ahead for it. You need to do this. You need to do that. Most of those people, find out how long they've lasted being an entrepreneur. Find out how long they've lasted being in a place where they can actually say there's a legacy behind it, if it's a longevity behind it, because every single person wants to get there, but no one wants to understand the process. No one wants to be obedient to the process. Everyone wants to jump and go at it and run for it. And they want to say, yeah, I want to go do this. I want to be an author. Well, are you dedicated in writing? Are you going to honestly dedicate yourself to writing every single day and putting the time into that every single day? Probably not, because you're probably not ready. So everything that you do, you must evaluate. You must take into consideration how important it is that you process things in a way that is going to help other people around you. Because when you are an entrepreneur, you're no longer really working for yourself. You're really not. You're actually working because the people around you need you. So you need to make sure that they're the ones who are benefiting from your character, from your integrity, from the way that you are. They're the ones who need to benefit from the fact that you are a good boss, because your team is partnering with you because they understand communication and timeliness. So when you get to that point of understanding that you're no longer really the boss, you're just basically the push to make it to the next level because you have a team of people that understand your vision and your goal. You're now seeing yourself in an evaluating state of mind where you are just saying, wow, I actually worked on my communication. I actually worked on my timeliness. So these people are working efficiently and effectively because of that. And I'll tell you this. When your communication is not good with your clients or the people that are with you, you have already automatically forfeited the right to be a boss. Because the people that surround you are looking up to you. They're looking up to you. They're saying that they're saying you're successful. You're great at what you do. You're absolutely someone they want to follow. You're absolutely someone they aspire to be. But if you are trying to aspire to be something that's actually not accurate, then you're actually having a bunch of sheeps and a bunch of people coming after that are not actually going to follow anything good after that, because you're leading them up in a wrong direction. So it's always best to work on yourself before you end up opening this big can of worms of saying that you're going to do. And at the end of the day, you're failing. And I'm saying this because it happens. It happens so often. We have so many people that are launching 50 million things they're doing. And at the end of the day, they can't even handle one task. They can't even handle one assignment, but yet they want to do 50 assignments. You also have to be careful with the fact that if you are not good at something, your task as an entrepreneur, as a boss, as a person is to delegate. That's actually the most successful thing you can do in your business. Delegate to others things that you need done. Don't assume the responsibility to yourself. I don't think by any chance Oprah and Tyler Perry and all of these people do everything on their own. We already know that. And they never did it on their own. They had to have help. They had to have people who were committed. They had to have people who were there for them. And they were saying, I will commit 100% to what you're giving me. So when you develop that kind of partnership in that team, you know that you're heading in the right direction. When you're delegating things, you're heading in the right direction. If you're doing it all by yourself, you're not heading in the right direction. It's not wise, and it will never be productive. So now let's go to the personal side of this. The personal side of it is something that we also need to work on. What do you bring to a person's environment that ticks them off? So let's take, for example, some people you hang out with, friends, family, and, there's so many things that really will tick you off as an individual. I know there are things that really tick me off as an individual. And I need to understand that if it bothers somebody else, it should be accounted that it's important, even if it's the smallest things. Like, for example, if someone tells you that they can't stand your snoring, why are you constantly not doing something about that? It's simple. It's very simple, but it obviously isn't helping the individual who's receiving it. So you need to check yourself. Try to respect someone else's space, respect someone else's aura, respect the person that's in your life, in your circle. Don't take for granted what people are telling you. People are voicing out their opinions. People are voicing out things because they want better. They're not just sitting there saying it for the sake of being upset and angry and want to just be upset at you for no reason. They really are speaking out because they want you to see where they're in pain and what is it that bothers them. So if you have a problem snoring, people that have couples, relationships, go to the doctors. Find some help. Help yourself so you can help that other person who's telling you the situation. Evaluate who you are and why you do it. Are you doing it because you really don't care? But it's no longer about you when you have that problem and someone else is the receiving end. Now you're actually saying it's okay for me to behave this way. It's okay for me to act this way. And I don't care what that person feels. I don't care what that person is saying. And it's not fair to the other person that's receiving it. The other thing I had is if you show up unannounced at a friend's house, don't you think that bothers people? It obviously does. So if your friend constantly tells you that they don't like that you constantly show up at their house unannounced and you consistently do it and you really don't care and you feel as though it's okay to do it because they're your friend, you're violating that person's space. You're also violating the respect that should be granted to that individual. Evaluate who you are and why you do what you do. What do you get out of honestly doing what you do? If there's something that you're getting out of that, if there's some kind of stamina that makes you feel like, yeah, I just made somebody mad today. I mean, how is it that you think that should make the person feel good about where they're going and the improvement that they need for their lives? So let's say another example that I had is if you show up late to an appointment and they can't see you, you go to the doctor's and you're showing up late. Whose fault is that? Yours. And every time you go, you do the same thing. And whose fault is it again? Yours. And every time you seem to have a great excuse. I wonder why. Because it's a bad habit. It's a habit you have. It's something you think that you should be doing because it's okay to do. You're constantly thinking that it's acceptable to do that. But if you show up at your appointments late, if you show up to work late and the boss is mad and the doctor gets upset and say they can't see you, why are you upset at the clerk? Why are you upset at everybody else and not yourself? Why? That's where you need to evaluate yourself. Like I said before, check yourself. There's so many things that you have to work on. And instead of being mad at the world, instead of being upset at everybody else and telling everybody off and saying that the clerks looked at you funny, that she just decided to be mean to you, that's not true. You know that's not true. You really know that's not true. But we find a way to make excuses for certain behaviors we carry just for the simple fact that we don't want to improve on them. And if we try to improve on everything that we work on, we will see progress in the things that we do. Like when we're going out on the street and all of a sudden when we go on the street, we see people that are passing us on the lane and they're constantly beeping at us on the highway. But you know you were in the fast lane. Why are you in the fast lane when you know you're going really slow and you're upset that the people are beeping at you? That's common sense. See, some of the things we do in all actuality are things that we can avoid. We simply choose not to. And it's just human nature. It's not intentional. I know most of the things are not intentional. Some things can be very intentional, but I know the majority of these things are not intentional. But we continue to find a way to excuse them. And we think it's okay to do that because we get away with it all the time. No one really calls it out on our attention. And then when people really do, we still say, well, like, oh, you're just being funny. You're just going the extra mile. You're just, saying stuff that you shouldn't be saying anyways, when we know it's true. Evaluating yourself is really realizing the struggle that you have every day and why you struggle with that, and make your checklist and check off different things every single time that you're working on it. Don't just sit on it assuming that someone else should actually take that or someone else should actually say it's okay to do that, because now you're saying, I really don't care. And that's what people are going to constantly see you in a different way. They're also going to be very upset with you because what you're doing is honestly disrespecting their wishes, disrespecting the things that they desire. So keep in mind that that's very, very important. People have to be considerate of other people. People have to know that if something is bothering you, you need to voice it, but you need to fix it. You can't make excuses for it every single time. If someone lied on someone else, you know the truth, and you're equally responsible for being a part of that lie. When you engage in conversations with your girlfriends and they're talking about somebody else and you know that's a lie, but you're listening to it, you just obviously think it's interesting to sit there and have that little powwow moment with your friends. And it's also making you an accountable person towards that situation. So you can't say that person lied about the story they said because you listened to it. So that also makes you pretty much a person who is involved with that conversation. It actually makes you feel like you're in agreement with what they're saying and what their actions are. Instead of correcting that person, you will rather sit there and listen to them and say, oh, it's okay to just be this way, and it's really not fair. The other part is, if you know you're causing someone to feel uncomfortable about a certain behavior and you agree to surround yourself with that behavior, then you're agreeing to what they're doing. For example, when you go out to places and they're drinking and you're not a drinker, you're not a drinker. They don't respect the fact that you're not a drinker, but why are you there? I mean, is it necessary that you're actually there? Why are you there if you're not a drinker, but yet you say you're going to go and then you get upset? It's simple. Don't go. It's simple. Don't let the person make you feel uncomfortable. When people get you in uncomfortable positions or uncomfortable situations, you have a choice to make, and you can't go around feeling angry, upset, bent out of shape just for the simple fact that you think it's okay to be able to support your friend. But if something that's going against your will, you shouldn't have to submit or commit to that. See, you have to give yourself enough respect to understand that if the person cannot understand how to evaluate you, they're really not your friend. If the person doesn't respect the things that you don't like, they're really not your friend. So consider a lot of the things about evaluation. Evaluating means, and it's an analysis. It's putting together an analysis of things. When you go to church, if people take your seat every Sunday, you obviously get upset, but wait a minute, your name wasn't on that seat. And then instead of you talking to the person that's sitting there every Sunday, you choose to talk about them, or you choose to approach them really funny and look at them funny, twist your eye, twist your everything, cover your head with something, and then act like they're doing you wrong. But you never approach them to say, hey, this is my seat. I really love sitting here every Sunday, and I really, really will love to continue sitting here. And maybe having that conversation would allow you to understand that that person would have never known that you have a passion for that particular spot. And it's something you like, and it's something that you want to, be around. They may say, you know what? I'm sorry. I really never knew this was your spot. And I never even thought it was necessary that people would think about a spot. Maybe it's something personal. Maybe it's something that's, good that you speak about it, because the person does not know. They're not mind readers, and they're certainly not going to figure you out. They can't evaluate you. They can't try to process anything that's going wrong with you because you're not voicing it, you're not expressing it. That's why when you write down all of the things that bothers you and all of the things that you need to improve on, you'll be surprised when that checklist come together. All the things that you're going to check off that are going to say, wow, these are very simple and minor things. These are so minor that I can definitely work on it. I can definitely improve on it. So that's very, very important. The power of agreement is just as much as if you were contesting to the actions. Everything you do, it's basically saying you're co-signing and signing to saying this is okay to do. When someone is signing with you, is being friends with you, and they can't express who they are around you, that's a very uncomfortable situation. Take into account that every time you're surrounded by people, they want to feel comfortable around you. Don't sit around not expressing yourself. Don't hide it. Don't keep it in. Don't try to swallow it down and bury yourself. You are not helping yourself, and you're not helping the other person. They don't know your feelings. They don't know what's happening to you. They can't figure that out. You have to let the person know what is it that is bothering you. And if you have to work on something, make sure that you are improving on it, and find an accountable partner that's telling you that you're doing better. And I'll give you a good example. Sometimes, before, when I used to come home, I would immediately come to my office and get engaged into the computer and doing everything that I have to do. And my children will always say to me, Mom, why don't you sit down for a minute and watch a show with me? Mind you, I'm not a person to sit down and watch TV or shows or anything like that. That is just not my thing. But I had to realize and evaluate myself. And I had to say to myself, wait a minute, I don't like it, but they do. What am I going to do about it? So I decided to make sure that on specific days when there were certain shows they wanted me to watch with them, that I will sit with them and that I will actually watch it with them. Even if I was not all into it, I still made the effort to do that, because now I'm understanding and considering what they want and what they feel. And that's where you have a happy medium. You don't have to necessarily do everything 100%, but if you're at least getting to that 90%, you'll be surprised how so many little things end up becoming better things. And it actually doesn't turn into bigger issues. And it's just like, when you have, for example, before we had 2 sinks in our bedroom, in our bathrooms, I used to have a really hard time dealing with water on the actual sink when you're brushing your teeth and it's just there. And then you're all dressed up and then all of a sudden you lean on it and the water's on your clothes and you're upset about that. And I'll be like, hold up. I don't like this. Why am I doing this? But why? Because the person before me left it that way. So I was never saying anything, right? So what did I have to do? I had to voice it out. I had to say something. And what did I do? I said, wait a minute, we got to have separate sinks. Found a solution to the problem, people. Some things are not as deep. It's simple. I just can't do it. It was like, oh no, water on the sink, because I don't like it. It's just something that irks me. But guess what? There's some things that may not be as deep. Some people may look at it like I'm crazy, or why is she going off on something like that? That's just me. And at the end of the day, it still means that you're supposed to work with me and I'm supposed to work with you. So when you're partnering with people in business, in personal things, in anything that you do, consider the fact that that little thing, that small little thing that you don't think anything about, is not something you should take lightly. It's not something you should go around thinking it's not a big deal. If someone tells you do not call them after 10 o'clock, but you don't call, but you send them a text, that's wrong. You're disrespecting your wishes. So please understand that when we are working on ourselves, we're doing something not just for us, but we're doing it for others. When we're working on ourselves, we have to take into account that if that was Jesus Christ, what will we be doing? Think about it just like that. If that was Jesus, what would I do? So look at the person like if they were Jesus, if that makes it better. But just to give you that analysis, make sure that you are seeing things in that kind of light and not taking it like it's not as important, because it may not be to you, but it is to that other person. Some things about evaluating yourself is also when you're in relationships with your spouses. If you have spouses, or if you're about to have a spouse, people have to consider each other's situations, baggages they come into marriages or different things, past relationships that they'll have, and then they'll come in with something that you don't like. Voice it out, speak about it. Make sure that you're telling the person how you feel, and don't feel intimidated by it. Don't feel as though you are saying something that's out of the norm. Understand that everything that you do, everything that you say is going to make an impact in the future, because that person is going to carry that for the rest of their lives. So your appointment, your assignment is to work on you. Your assignment is to make sure that you are doing what is necessary to make sure that other people are comfortable around you. When you make people uncomfortable around you, you are not going to make headways with anyone in business, in your private life, or in anything that you choose to do. It is a lot. It's a work in progress, and it's a whole lot of things that we have to work on. But you can't start a business. You can't have relationships. You can't try to have friendships based on I care and I love yous and I like you. That's not it. Honestly, it's not just it. It takes work. It takes effort. And we go back to that business mindset. If you don't like people, why are you in customer service? Seriously. If you, and I've seen it happen so often. If you don't like people, why are you in customer service? If you don't like to sing, why are you in a choir? I mean, why, people? Why are we doing this? Why are we damaging people? Why are we hurting people? Why do we walk around thinking it is normal to do these things to people? and that people should take it and people should just deal with it, when in all reality, they have their own things to work on as well. So you're now adding to the plate other things that they have to work on with you. So it shouldn't be fair. So tonight's session is really something that most people won't understand or see a lot of angles when they're working on themselves, because they're busy only hearing what they want to hear. And a lot of it is because we're not honest with each other. We're not telling each other things that are truthful. We are, if the pastor upsets you, talk to the pastor. If you're the bus driver of the church, the van upsets you, talk to them. Express the issue and always find a way to mediate it and resolve it. Don't walk around angry. Don't walk around upset. It's not even worth it. By the time you wake up tomorrow morning, you're going to find yourself constantly being upset at something that you should have never been upset about, because you didn't want to make an effort to work on it. You chose to simply stay in that place of suffering and anger and truthfully uncomfortableness. You don't need to. So I want you to start working on yourself. And one of the things that you have to start doing it is write it down. Even if you have a list of 5 to 10 things, write it down. It's very important, because your vision's got to be plain. God is not going to give you more. Trust me when I tell you, he cannot hand you more when you are not equipped to take more. It is critical that you handle more when you know how to take more by working on you first before you get to that place of taking so much. Because if you can't take that 9 to 5, you won't be able to double it for something more longer hours or overtime hours. It's impossible. Also, keep in mind that when you're dealing with entrepreneurships and people that have businesses, if you don't like something in your business relationship with someone, you need to also be honest about it and express how it is that you feel. A lot of people are walking around expressing a lot of interest in things that they're doing and things that you might be doing. But you have to be very honest with yourself. If you can't deal with someone, tell them. If you might want to deal with them in a different level versus in a business level. And it's okay to voice that, because people will respect you more. People will give you more respect. I come across a lot of situations where I find people that are always interested in wanting to do something. And one of the things that I am not about is wasting time. I really don't entertain people that are going to waste my time. And I don't say that because of being bougie or whatever everybody wants to call it. But I take my life on a day-to-day basis serious, because I don't know if I'm going to live tomorrow. And that's honestly the truth. I don't know if I will be living tomorrow. I don't know if I will be able to see tomorrow. So when I am living life, I am living it as if it is my last. So I will put 100% into it. I will do whatever is necessary on a day-to-day basis to strive to get it done, to do better, and to always improve on things. So when people are surrounding you that claim they want to be a part of something that you do, and that claim they want to go places with you, and that claim they're up to doing whatever they want to do with you, but not one time they have taken the opportunity to really devote and commit to that particular time that you need, then it's a waste. And you don't need to waste time. You may not be able, look, Jesus spent 33 years on earth. And out of those 33, 3 of those years, he accomplished what today is the world of what we live in, and everything that we carry, everything that we do. The Bible is out there, everything. In 3 years, stories, lives, everything was transformed. Everything was accomplished. Everything was done. Before he was even born, there was already stories lined up. But when he was here, he did in 3 years the most miraculous things that some of us are taking forever to do. So if he was able to do that in 3 years and he didn't waste time, see, that's important. When I was talking about timeliness earlier, he did not waste time. He took the time for all those stories in the Bible of miracles, signs, and wonders to be effective for his life and for the world to impact us today. So if you are one of those people who procrastinate time and you don't think that you need it and you can wait 5 more years, 3 more years, or whatever amount of time to accomplish something that you want, you're honestly setting yourself up for failure, because that is not the way God operates, and certainly not the way Jesus Christ operates. So, he never operated that way. So if we call ourselves children of God, we need to reevaluate ourselves. If we call ourselves children of God, we need to honestly consider timeliness being very important. You may have a plan that may take you a long time to succeed at it, but if you're working on it gradually, if you're working and sustaining yourself, if you're building yourself, if you're doing what is necessary to do with your time very wisely, I guarantee you will accomplish it, because you're not wasting time. So when you have a team of people that claim they want to be a part of it, that claim they want to help you, you need to reevaluate that. And it's okay to say, I don't need you because you're not helping me with my vision. You're not helping me build something. You're saying you're going to show up, but you never show up. I do these sessions every Monday, and I have over 600 and 700 and something people on my Facebook, and who knows how many other people I have on different social medias. And I guarantee you, not even 20 of them probably show up. And it's okay, because I'm using my time wisely. You understand where I'm going with this? I know what I'm evaluating for my life. I'm not looking for 700 people to think that their time has to be devoted to me, but I guarantee you they will need at some point the action of saying, how did she do it? They're going to wonder how, and they're going to want to come and ask. So sometimes when you're starting a process of a project and you know that you may not have the team that you're building to get there, don't even worry about it. It didn't happen overnight, and it's certainly not going to. But at least you are using your time wisely. You're investing your time wisely. You're taking time to build something wisely. And it's not about anyone else supporting it, but you and God building it. Amen to that. So I thank God that he gives us these platforms, because we are too busy jumping into everybody's periscopes and busy jumping into everybody's different talk shows and whatever they're doing. But are they being productive? Are you seeing the product? You can go to my website and see the product. See, that's the thing. We're building things here. We're not just saying we're going to do sessions on Mondays just to build an audience. We want you to actually use the tools to transform your life and to build something for yourself. And there's testimonies about it. So even if you're doing it for whatever other reason, keep in mind that your time is being used effectively. So I need you to see yourself in a different light. When you start evaluating yourself with your checklist of things you need to improve and a checklist of things that you want to work on that are going to help your business or your character or whatever you're doing, keep in mind that you're going to need to understand that you're not going to have everyone or everything that you need to build that. But do not stop. Don't stop. Sister Kemley, this teaching is awesome. Thank you so much. We can build 16. Thank you. I love you. Oh, the hearts are wonderful. It's important. See, building something is not based on an overnight process. Building something meant that you took time to evaluate yourself. You took time to understand communication. You took time to understand timeliness and partnership. You took the time to understand all of those steps and processes. You took time to understand how to create a plan. So when you're doing all of that, those people that want to jump in or want to say to you they want to be a part, they're going to miss out on the steps that you took of communication, timeliness, and partnership. So they'll have to go backwards when you're already moving forward. You understand me? So now you're seeing yourself further ahead because you took time to invest in that article, in that portion of your life. You took the time to mold that. So now they're going to have to take the time to do it as well. And then you're not going to have the time at that moment when they come in to say that they want to be a part of it because you already passed that level. So when even our Christian walk has levels. Our Christian, everything has levels. So when you're on a different level and people don't understand it, it's okay. It is absolutely okay, people of God. It's nothing wrong with you going to other levels because you can't stay in the same place. You evaluated your life. You took the time to mold it. You took the time to do for yourself the necessary tools. You took 1 month at a time to check off something on your list. So that means that now after you've done that, you are now progressing. You're seeing yourself progressing. So that's what counts. At the end of the day, that is the tool to why you're improving, why you're working so hard. If it took you 6 months, if it took you a whole year, even to build your website, you may take a while to get it done because you need direction or you need focus, but you're finding the way to get it done because you're instructing your mind, you're instructing yourself, you're presenting yourself to become powerful in everything that you do. I'm leaving you with the scriptures of also understanding that the power of agreement is very important. When you come in contact with people that are doing work for you or you're working for them, that power of agreement is important. So when you are agreeing or touching and agreeing with people and you are saying, I want you to do this for me, or they say to you, I want you to do this for me. Understand that if their assignment is not in God's will, it jeopardizes your agreement. It's very powerful spiritual thing right there. I'm saying that because right now, strategically, I'm prophetically speaking that. Be careful with the power of agreement because it's very transferable. Some things are transferable, just like people's laziness is transferable, just like people's mindset of saying they'd rather you do all the work, that's transferable. So be very careful with the power of agreement. Don't agree with certain people just for the simple fact that you think they can do something for you because you see it in the larger scale or you see the fact that they're doing something. Be careful when you do an agreement with someone, whether it's verbally or whether it's written on a contract, because whatever they carry is also something that you're agreeing to have. My God, whatever they carry, whatever they possess, whatever they do is something that's also transferring to you because it's an agreement. An agreement means something that is a covenant. So do not jump on opportunities or things for the simple fact that you're saying, I have it. Discern them first. Pray on them first. Understand that power is very powerful because it can make you or break you. If they haven't evaluated themselves, but you have, and you come into that power of agreement, that could be very dangerous. So be very careful when you're dealing with agreements with people that you're coming in partnership with, because you have to understand that that can be transferred to you. If that person is lazy, if that person is never on time, if that person refuses to be someone that's accountable, you as a whole are also in agreement with that action and behavior. Keep in mind what we do in everything that we do. We also have to understand where it's going, not just for the moment, but for later on as well. Take into consideration the importance of the agreement. Everything you agree with, if you have baby mama dramas, daddy dramas, any kind of drama, if you agree to something with that person and that person is irresponsible, you're also accountable. Evaluate these things, people of God. It is very important because we're walking around honestly not understanding how much power and authority we have. Just like the darkness has it, the light has it. Just like the enemy can do, God can do. So just as much as we want to pursue things and we want to be in greatness and we want to fulfill great things, you have to see yourself in a different light, because you're in agreement with something that's not in agreement with you. When I evaluate people, I just don't take lightly the evaluation just because I want to be a funny type of person. I'm considering where I'm going with that. I'm considering, why am I in partnership with you? Because in the future, it has to impact my life. It has to produce fruits. It has to do something great. So don't just assume that when people are connecting and they want to help or they want to be a part of your help or whatever the case is, you're not going to see benefit. You have to see the benefit if it's an agreement. but is it in alignment with the evaluation that you have done? That's the key. That's like the tool. That's like the weapon that you need to carry with you when you evaluate anything. Is it in alignment? Is it in that covenant? Is it allowing you to see that this is going somewhere? Is that person adding to your life something positive? It's in all grounds, people of God, in business, in churches, in personal lives. It's critical, because if you're broke, I'm gonna be broke. I'm sorry, I had to say it. If you're broke, I'm going to be broke. If you lack, I'm going to lack. What good is that going to do that we're going to come in agreement together? Somebody got to have something. Somebody has got to have something. Somebody got to have the brain to at least bring it out, because yeah, you could help a broke person, but if that broke person remains broke for a period of time, what's going to happen next? You end up broke too. It's critical. It's important. Exactly. So if you're in alignment and in agreement with certain things that you haven't evaluated or taken the time to evaluate you and evaluate the people. Evaluate what's going on, because they can damage a lot of good that you have done. They can come in and jeopardize a whole lot of stuff that you have already put so much work and effort into, so much energy into, so much time into it. And then you're going to sit there and be mad. You're going to fuss and say, wait a minute, why this person did me wrong? Wait a minute. You had a time to evaluate it. And you had the same authority to say, I don't want it, because two broke people can make headways. It's impossible. I'm just going to leave that there. But I'm going to leave you with these scriptures, and then we're out for the night. Proverbs 6:19, a false witness who pours out lies, a person who sows discord in a family. Be careful with family members that want to come into business with you. Every family doesn't have that togetherness. Every family doesn't have that understanding. Every family member is not into the same assignment and alignment that you have. Some of them don't get it. You can't be given freebies. You can't say, yes, you can come to my event for free all the time. Like, no. Some things are important that you set straight from the beginning, because it's like saying a person who sows discord in a family, meaning that person is not just saying the discord by arguing with you, but what they're bringing in is division, because your vision is now being divided. So when your vision starts to get divided, then you're failing and you're going into a place where it's going to be really dramatical and bad for you. So you have to evaluate that, because they pour out lies, meaning that what the scripture is saying is, they say things or do things that are not in alignment. They're not in accord with what God is saying. So you have to be very careful when you are coming into agreement with that or those type of people. It doesn't just mean family, but in all reality, it's everybody. Okay, the scripture says the family, because yes, in families, that's what happens a lot of times. It creates division. The moment you're in business, it is even worse. So keep in mind that you have to be able to separate and evaluate those situations. Proverbs 28:6, better to be poor and honest than to be dishonest and rich. Just like I said earlier, if you're broke, tell me you're broke. If you have money, tell me you have money, that you can help me. For real, if you really have it, then do something about it. Help me out. Let me see that we're going into partnership about something that's really going to help. Be honest, be upfront, be honorable about what you're doing and what you're saying. Don't try to fool me and play me, because that's not going to happen. People do that a lot, and they don't think it's something wrong with that. They honestly assume that, they're not going to find out. Well, when when you start discerning things that God is going to give you, you will find out. So, better to be poor and honest. Yes, I would rather stay in this place the way I am than to bring you on board and end up worse. So be careful when you're doing these things with anyone. And 1 Peter 2:12, be careful to live properly among your unbelieving neighbors. Then even if they accuse you of doing wrong, they will see your honorable behavior, and they will give honor to God when he judges the world. Your behavior is honorable. When you evaluate yourself, you're honoring who you are. You're honoring yourself. You're thinking about what is it that you have to improve and do to make it better. Your behavior is everything. Your name is everything. It's everything. So be mindful of the people and the things surrounding you that are coming into contact with you that are not in alignment, in agreement with God. Evaluate yourself and help yourself to do better. I pray that this message today was a blessing to you. I hope that you all were able to be blessed. Share it with other people. Make sure that people are coming in contact with us on Monday nights. Please be mindful that our sessions are for transformational purposes. If you are not ready to become a person of success, you're in the wrong forum. You're in the wrong Periscope. Okay. I'm sorry, but I have to say it. I only work with people that are ready to go to the next level because they don't want to waste their time. And if you're one of them that's hesitating, but you have the urge to really get to the next level, thank you. If you have that urge and you want it so bad, then we're here to really help you, because our process is a 90-day turnaround for your business, for your life, and for anything, for your church. Whatever you are in need of, we're going to turn it around, and it's going to be boom. We're not playing. This is not for people to come in procrastinating. And if you have a procrastinating mindset, trust and believe it will turn around and you will no longer walk in procrastination. So I thank you. I love you with the love of Christ. I pray God's blessing upon you. And I will see you again next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Blab and Periscope. And also, please keep in mind that soon we will be having our radio show. It will be launching very soon, but go to simiworldradio.com so you can hear the station, and you can also download the Google Play and the in iTunes, the actual app, and it's free. You don't have to pay for anything. This is also going into partnerships with various businesses, authors, and people. If you need more information, email me at kemleywhiteside@gmail.com. Oh, thank you so much. You're so sweet. I want to make sure that you come into partnership with us, because we are trying to build an environment where people are going to grow successfully. People that know me know what I do. They see what I do. They understand who I am because they see the product. Okay. I'm not, it's no joke. This is real. We want to make sure that you're going to the next level. If you want to go to the next level, you're in the right forum. And once again, if you're not ready to go to the next level, you're not in the right forum. You're not in the right platform. We are here to work, operate in decency and order, and to take you to the next level. So that's why the Periscope and the Blabs are coming on faithfully, because there's too many people that are taking advantage of the opportunity of what we're doing. They're launching their businesses, they're launching their next level ideas, and it's working. It's no gimmick, no game. My consultations and everything that I do, we can discuss all that very affordable stuff. And you know, I don't even want to go into details here, but I want you to know that I'm here to push you, because that's what I do. My success did not come overnight, but I understand what others need to get there, because there's too many people that sit here on these platforms and talk to you, and they're not actually showing you. We are here to show you. I'm here to show you. And that's what I commit to. So thank you for joining us again. I'll see you again next Monday. And please follow me on the social medias, because there's so much stuff coming out, and the schedules are getting very busy. There's so many things going on. Even for 2017, a lot of stuff is already coming on. I love you too, D. Seward. Thank you. So there's a lot going on. If you need any assistance, reach me out at kemleywhiteside@gmail.com so that I can help you. I can work with you. I can establish a forum of what you need to do and how you need to progress with your goals. But keep in mind that if you're not serious, then we can't help you. So, you know, a lot of things are important, okay, for you to know that we're here for you. So thank you. God bless you. We love you. I love you. And I pray God's blessing upon you. And I'll see you again next week. Bye, Periscope. Bye, Blab. Thank you so much. Hugs, kisses, hearts, hearts, hearts. Hearts, hearts. Thank you so much, guys. I love y'all so much.